All right, okay. So let us start our review. So before I start, what is your overall appeal in terms of how did you find the session? Are you happy with the work that you have done, or have you found some difficulties and etc.? Could you please share your thoughts? Was the time given insufficient for you? You could also share in the chat window if you want, or you can unmute and you can talk. Yes. So who is that? So someone is saying, I could not hear you completely.
No, you asked us if the time was sufficient. I said, yes, sir. 2 hours is more than enough.
2 hours is more than enough. Okay. So did anybody complete the work within 2 hours? I mean, before 2 hours, like 1 hour, 45 minutes. So Shamini is saying the time was sufficient for me, but maybe I could have executed the model better. All right. So I generally hear students saying that, okay, it was very simple. I finished the entire exam in 45 minutes and I came out. So they tell it very proudly, but they are missing out the 1 hour, 15 minutes of time that is at their disposal. Okay, so they could not utilize the time. They may feel happy that they finished the exam in 45 minutes, but they are at a great loss. So if the exam is for 2 hours, use it completely. You plan your work such that you can show your best of your abilities in that 2 hours of time. All right. Okay. That's very important. So everything starts with the planning. So you read your question, you see the materials, you ideate, and you see how you can modify your doodle, your idea, and then you get into the execution. Okay. Netra is saying the time was sufficient for me, but I wasn't really happy with my model. I think I could have executed it more neatly. Yeah, good realization. So you have multiple opportunities over the next few weeks. So you can, every day you can improve your work. Okay, and you will figure out certain ways how you can do that. So Tavishi is saying 1 hour for 45 minutes, use the rest to perfect and do the right. Okay, Tavishi, I see your model and I think it's pretty cool. All right. So what we will do is we will not only review today's the AIM mock test, but we'll also see what has happened in the physical class. So they had a different topic. So we will also review that work. Okay. Jagruti is saying, I felt the time was enough, but I started panicking towards the end, which I think affected my execution. Tavishi, sorry, Jagruti. Jagruti's work. Jagruti, did you upload your work?
Yes, sir, I did. Maybe you have to refresh it. I don't know.
Refresh it. All right. Okay, we've got a few more here. Yes, Jagruti. So, Jagruti, were you there in yesterday's session?
No, sir, I couldn't join because I had my pre-boards and some extra classes. So
Right. So, because you missed certain things, but anyway, I'll try to see if I can upload the orientation recording on YouTube and share it with you. It's important that you go through them. All right.
yes, sir.
Because we specifically spoke about certain characteristics that you will use in a trophy. All right. And I see that there are.
I think I missed that. Yeah.
You missed that. Okay. Yeah. All right. Great. So let us start off with the reviewing. So what is the first question? So it says create a trophy for National Bravery Award. So you all know what is National Bravery Award, right? It is given for the child who has exhibited bravery in certain situations. So currently there is a medal for them. So the question says, okay, you create a trophy for this particular award. And the materials given are cardboard size A4 size paper, a cardboard sheet, white papers, 3 numbers, straws 4, satin ribbon 1 meter, and cloth A4 size 2 numbers. Okay, so this is a simple list of materials. As we go forward, we will add more materials because I don't want you to get overwhelmed with the number of materials and then uh, lose the focus on the core of the activity, right? I don't want you to get into that mode. So that is the reason we have the first test we have gone with simple materials. Okay, fine. So what we will do is we had also given certain criteria in terms of how you should be creating the model, right? Few things like the first thing is it has to be a study model. Okay, and I think Johan has basically taken pictures from upside down and also uh, a close-up view of that, which he's trying to show that it's a study model. I like the approach. It's pretty. Uh, it is. I mean, what I feel is what it is conveying for me is probably power or unity, uh, that kind of a mood or theme it is conveying rather than bravery. Okay, so any thoughts on from the students? I would also like to hear your thoughts. What do you think about somebody showing a fist? What does that convey? A fist. What does it? The fist convey?
Sir, I think about it as empowerment more than bravery.
As an empowerment. All right. Okay. Any other thoughts? Okay. So it is very important that when you begin your work, if you are using or choosing a symbol, you got to understand what does it generally convey to the people. All right, because it is very important. Knowingly or unknowingly, people have created certain mental images and they associate those with certain mental images. All right, certain themes with the mental images. So you got to be cautious in terms of what you are trying to convey. So in terms of theme, I think his intention is bravery, but he is conveying something different. Okay, that's number one. And let us say, in terms of the execution, now you see the base. The base is all pretty rough in nature, and we had asked to use cloth. The cloth is not used. Okay, I can see a silk ribbon which has been shaped or cut and he has put it around. That's all right. And the paper is fine. So the silhouette of this particular symbol, okay, even though the silhouette is neatly cut, it is not neatly glued to give a three-dimensional effect. You see all these gaps and all of that, right? So you got to be very cautious in terms of how you're creating the gaps. So to avoid it, what he should have done is when he's adding this uh, depth paper or sheet, there is a method of doing it. So whenever you're doing joinery like this, you have to cut little X's, fold along the shape, and the folded part should come behind the front part. Here, the folded part should go behind the hand. So what happens is we can completely avoid this messy looking gaps and the model looks quite intact. All right, so I would want all of you, whoever is watching, to do this little exercise of creating a three-dimensional effect to some kind of an abstract shape. And I would want you to follow this method. So what is this method is basically you have this depth, you create a small flange, okay, and when you're doing this flange and when you're trying to create this shape, naturally it will not flex easily. To make it flex, what you have to do is you have to give certain perpendicular cuts so that the paper can be twisted and bent. Does it make sense? Is it making sense for you guys? Can I get a yes or no? If not, I'll draw and show what I mean, what I meant.
Yes, sir.
You understood, right? You guys understood, right? Okay, fine. So relevance to the question, of course, it's a trophy. It is relevant. Creative thinking is all right. Wow factor is creating use of materials. Detailing could be improved. Neatness can be improved. Study model, definitely yes. Function and moving parts, it is not relevant. Supporting sketch or explanation is not given. Okay, explanation is required. Did he give an explanation anywhere? No, he has not given the explanation. It is quite important that you give explanation. Oh, all these are gone. Okay. All right, so that's the okay. What is the score? It's about 64 out of 100. So he has rated 49. So which is very good because he knows that the quality of the work could have been better, which is pretty cool. Okay, he has self-realized it. Okay. All right. So next, I would like to review. Where are the other works? Okay, now here. Jagruti. So Jagruti, in the orientation yesterday, we have specifically spoken about what is a trophy. What does a trophy mean? Okay, and the characteristics of a trophy. The trophy always had to be in a linear fashion, not in a flat uh, fashion, right? So it has a base and then it has something projecting out. Okay, so now the way that you have created, it looks more like a composition. Okay,
All
you are
right.
trying to depict a theme through a composition, not a trophy. All right.
Okay.
So I will
Right.
share
Got it.
that recording so that you can go through that and understand what I mean by that. Okay. So
Definitely.
relevant
Sure.
question. So this does not look relevant to the question. So it does not look like a trophy. So for that reason, I would not give marks for that. Creative thinking, wow factor, creative use of materials, detailing. Okay, so I don't think it's a study model because once you open up, so everything will fall off, isn't it? This is not a study model.
No, sir. I
So
tied it with the ribbon, so I think it's sturdy, but I don't know how it will play off in the longer run. But for now, it's sturdy.
okay, did you attach all this onto the cloth? All these
Yeah.
pyramids and all that? You
Yes,
attached
I
it.
did.
Okay, okay. So that is fine. Then no, this is not relevant. And did you give a supporting sketch? Okay. Yes. But you understood fundamentally where it is going wrong. All
Yes,
right.
sir. Maybe I'll do a revised version and just
Yeah.
upload a
Perfect.
revision or something.
Perfect. Yeah. Or you can also do the one that we have done in the physical class. That is also okay. I'll show you what question we have done in the physical classes. All right. Okay. Samyukta. So yes, so you're depicting lion. Lion is a symbol of bravery. So that is good. But in terms of the execution, all right, execution you have to really improve on, Samyukta. Now see, when you have taken the lion face, it has certain interesting quality. Okay, it has a nice silhouette. Okay, Now, by using a rectangular base as a backdrop, you are missing out to showcase the beauty of this silhouette. All right. So what I feel is you could have given emphasis on the the silhouette and the face of the lion, and this could have been even bigger. So basically, currently what is happening is the base is dominating the plague or the whatever you're trying to depict there. All right. Is Samyukta in the call?
Yes, sir.
You understood?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that's number one. And you cannot write this in such a casual fashion. National Bravery Award.
So I had almost run out of time, but yes, I did realize it after I finished it. So
Yeah, you can. If you are short of time, probably you can also just write NBA. Right?
oh,
And
okay, okay.
give
I
more
wasn't aware. I
importance to
wasn't
the
actually
NBA.
sure whether I could
Hmm.
create acronyms, so I just stuck to writing the full form.
But what is happening is, see, the entire thing, the major focus isn't on this particular white piece of paper because it is catching all the attention because it is in the front of you, right? And you have written very casually, so it looks very casual kind of a feel. So you got to really work on that. Okay, and
Yes, sir.
you could have probably thought about making this face bigger and the hair flowing down over here. All right, so the entire focus will be on the lion's face, and then you write
So would it have
major.
been better if I took the brown piece of cardboard off? I
Yes,
actually
yes,
wanted to just put the lion face, so it
yes,
gives more of an effect. But I thought for
yes.
it to be more like a award, I put the brown
No, but
cardboard behind.
it's stealing away the
Okay, okay,
beauty of the thing, right?
okay. Yes, I'll
Okay,
do that then.
and also the execution. You got to give importance to the execution.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday we had also spoken about how would you avoid showing this kind of a plaster joints, right? The most ideal way could have been you could have created a slit in the cloth and inserted this support inside it, and you have glued inside it, inside and outside, so that
Yes, sir.
it doesn't look shabby. Okay, so execution is very, very important. All right.
Yes, sir.
So relevance to the question, creative thinking, wow factor, creative use of materials, detailing, neatness. I'm sure this is a study model. It will not fall off, right? Yeah. So functional and supporting sketch of writing. This model represents national bravery award. I have depicted a lion to showcase the aspect of bravery and the colors of the national flag to show the spirit of nation. That's a good one. Okay. I could not notice that, but this explanation is telling that it's good. I have placed the entire display on a stable base to give it a award feel like. All right. So the expectation mismatch, right? So you know where you could improve. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Cool. Good job. Next is Rosa. My inspiration for the trophy is superhero. The bravest person is like a superhero of the nation. They are strong as a stone, which is why I depicted black and the cloth around his neck since he is a superhero. All right, so there's a cloth behind the neck. Uh, okay, there are these straws and a base and a satin cloth over there. Okay. Um, so, Rosa. So, Rosa, what I feel here is now the which is the most important aspect of your trophy here. Okay, the most important aspect of the trophy is a superhero, right? Now, what is happening is because of the colors that you have chosen here, like when you look at this model, what is getting more highlighted are the straws, the blue stripes on the straws. Okay, and the superhero is flat, right? So you may ask, okay, how can you create a three-dimensional effect on with a paper like this, like a human being? So what you could have done is probably you could have the sheet that you're using, you could have drawn the superhero silhouette, and then you could have bent it like this in a cylindrical fashion. Okay, the paper is stuck to the sheet in a cylindrical fashion so that you automatically get a 3D effect. Like for example, these straws are kept in a circular fashion, so you get a three-dimensional effect. But here the paper is straight. So the paper you could have bent and given this particular shape so that your entire figure would also look in a three-dimensional form. Okay, is Rosa here on the call? Okay, I'm not sure, but so I would probably suggest that it could have been made even more better. But the concept is interesting. The concept is interesting, but execution could have been a lot better. Okay. All right. So Tavishi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Tavishi. I think you did a fantastic job. Okay, but there are certain areas where you could have improved. I will tell you where you can improve. Okay. Now, there are certain things which are really you can appreciate. Okay, so you have shown the sword and what do you call this?
A shield, sir.
A shield. A shield. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sword and the shield. Okay, and then you have mounted them on a straw. Okay. I like the way that you have folded the cloth and you have used the satin to create these roses. It's pretty cool. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you have taken these straws all around, but you have not thought how you can basically create a nice feeling to the edges.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you would know how to do.
So I have one question.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that would be useful in such a situation, I mean, depending on what straw we have, like normal straw, you have the part that bends, right? So if I had that, I would want to use that as the edge because that's neat. And I had the straws which don't have that bending, etc. So I think that would be my solution if I was given that material or that kind of straw.
If that is not given, so how would you do that? That's the question.
Yes, sir.
Can anybody suggest how this corner can be done in a neat way? It's very simple. It can be done. Okay, it can be done in two ways I can think of. But anyway, so let me tell you this. Okay. So how about cutting the edge of the straw, one of the edge of the straw at 45-degree angle and the other edge in another 45-degree angle. Okay, so that they become a sharp corner.
Yes, sir.
You understood?
Yes, sir.
So that way you get a very clean corners. All right, so that's number one. Number two, I think you are trying to show that the shield and the sword are mounted on something, but you could have actually made this sword stand upright, and you could have made the sword a little longer and mount the shield on the sword.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is also another way of doing it, and it will simplify the entire thing.
Sir. Definitely.
And it looks very elegant. And you can also make the shield look more longer. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So generally what happens is, if you see the trophies, Filmfare Awards or Oscar Awards, or any of these trophies, would you see a bulky trophy or a sleek trophy?
Sleek, sir.
Sleek trophies. Trophies look beautiful when they are sleek and tall in nature. Right? So by having the sword upright and longer and having this shield on the sword itself, it will look even more prettier. And I really appreciate the way you have written the bravery on the shield, and then you have given this little ornamentation and all that. I also like the way you have thoughtfully used this cardboard sheet, the vertical lines that are shown.
Yes,
right?
sir.
It goes really well. Okay. And probably the box, you could improve on creating the box more neatly.
Yes, sir.
Because that is where it is not looking good, but otherwise it's a fantastic project.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so relevance to the question, creative thinking, wow factor, creative use of materials, detailing, neatness, study model, function and moving parts not relevant, supporting the sketch and lettering, all that is good. All this is good. Okay, good job.
Thank you, sir.
81. Okay. So we'll go to the next one. National Bravery Award. All right, Netra. Netra, are you on the call today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Netra. Okay. So you have not given the write-up.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I'll add it.
Okay, again, the symbol that you have chosen, okay, this is a symbol of collaboration. Right? So when you have multiple hands, it shows that it's a team effort, collaborative effort, and etc.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
So, for example, you can also do a search on internet. Okay, so for example, team. That is, what kind of images do you see when you type on team? You see that hands. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see the hands. This is a very common theme. Like when you have many hands coming. For example, see this. It's a team effort, collaborative, right? So. I think all of you, I would want you to do this little search. Okay, so take some random words and see what people generally think about. What is the image that popularly people have in their mind, and how can you find it? Just by going to the Google search and image search, and then you can understand, okay, what people associate a word with in terms of imagery. All right, I would want all of you to do that. So that is where fundamentally you are going wrong, because the symbol that you're choosing for the trophy itself is little irrelevant. Okay, that's number one. And this looks like quite a two-dimensional thing, and there is no text for me to understand what are these three different colors that you're using here as bands. All right, so it is not explaining clearly to me, and then the detailing of this. Okay, so when you have such a nice space, all right, you don't have to stick another paper and write on the paper. You could have written on the board itself. Okay, now the problem with sticking a paper is, you see the differences between the edge of the paper and the edge of this base. It looks irregular and it looks not so neat. You can avoid all of that if you can just draw whatever you wanted to do on the cardboard paper itself. All right.
Okay.
And yeah. All right, so that's the thing. So it's relevant to the question, but the theme is a little off-centered. Okay.
Yeah.
Creating variables, detailing, neatness. Okay, study model is not relevant and no supporting sketch. Okay, so.
Sir, I actually had a question.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to use are we allowed to take sketch pens or something to color, or do we have to use the materials they've given us?
See, my first preference is to utilize all the materials that they give, whatever color, texture, form that they give, use them to the maximum. I would not recommend that you use a sketch pen and change the color of entire white paper into red. Considering the red is like occupying a big size of your model, because it's just sheer waste of time, right? Or if you want to highlight on certain part, like for example, maybe you want to add some kind of a friendship band here, right? So maybe you can just use a sketch pen and draw it and then show it, right? So you can use sketch pens for highlighting things, not for coloring and changing the color of a sheet of paper that they have given to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then Shamini. Okay, so for the bravest. All right, interesting. I have created the trophy with a curved base and a tiger on the top. The bay also represents a cliff. The base also represents a cliff. The tiger represents brave. I have added a national flag as well, as the tiger represents our nation. Okay, so I just got an idea. I mean, one way is you can add the tricolors over here, or the other way what you can do is the stripes. The stripes can be of the colors of the flag. Okay, so that is an abstract way of showing. This is a literal way of showing, Shamini.
Yes, sir.
Right? So you can go creative by giving them what is not normally expected. Right? So if there is a tiger, these black stripes are expected. But if you give orange, white, and green stripes, then that gives a wow effect to your overall presentation. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's number one. And then I would suggest to make your trophies longer, not shorter and stout. Make them longer and leaner. It looks beautiful. Same concept, but if you just make it more longer, it looks beautiful. And give a three-dimensional base. This is a two-dimensional base. Give a three-dimensional base. And all of you, I would want you to create a circular base and a rectangular base. Practice it at home, okay? Because if you get a trophy and if you have to create a base, you should be able to create the base tuck, fast. You should not be going there and figuring out, oh, okay, how do I do this base? Because this is something which is expected. Okay, maybe what you do on top of the base is different. It can be different, but the base is compulsory. You have to create a base. So focus on how you can neatly create a base, all of you. All right, practice it nicely. Okay, and I would also suggest when you are doing these animals or human figures and etc., if you are not like 90% good in drawing these animals and human figures and etc., do it in an abstract way. Don't do in a literal way. All right. For example, look for abstract tiger. Okay. Abstract tiger. So look at this abstract tiger, this or maybe this, or we can also find some good images. Okay, so look at this abstract tiger. So you don't have to show the entire body. You just show the face and then you can give this kind of an effect. right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that completely takes your work to a completely different level altogether. People will think, oh wow, look at this, right? So don't try to represent this stuff too literally when you're not very good at that.
Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah. So this is another task. I would want you to practice drawing some human figures or animals in an abstract way. Maybe you may require to choose a particular animal or a human being to be drawn. Then you can draw them in an abstract way. Now, this I really like this way of depicting. Imagine you do it and you cut these out, okay, and then you have this as a silhouette and you focus on that, and it looks beautiful, and the entire model will look beautiful. Okay, and also see the abstract way of showing the tiger's face, right? So somebody has done a tiger face before, right? So they could have also done it in an abstract way. It looks beautiful. All right. Okay, so relevance to the question, creative thinking, wow factor, creative use of materials. So I don't see any creative use of materials here. They're all pretty simple and plain. Okay, and again, detailing could have been better. Neatness could be better. Study model. This is not relevant, and supporting sketch is there. Yes. Yeah, supporting sketch makes sense. Yes. Okay. I think last, yes.
So I'm not able to see my work in here. Could you like refresh the page?
I'll refresh. Let me just finish these two.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
And then I'll refresh. Okay. So let us see Monica's work. Is Monica in the call?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Monica. All right. So Monica, this is a very interesting one. Okay. Now I would want you to think about what is your focus here. Okay. So which one do you want it to be like a focus? So would you want these frills made by satin to be the focus, or you want these straws to be the focus, or you want this circle to be the focus, or you want these wings and a sword to be the focus? Which one do you want it to be on focus?
The wings and the swords.
I am not able to hear you. You can probably also type in the chat window. Your voice is too low. I can't hear you. Okay. So for me, these frills. What is getting my attention or grabbing my attention is this frills, number one, and this straws. Okay. But I don't think that is what you wanted to show. I think you wanted to show the wings and the sword, isn't it? So in which case, this has to be the focus, that has to be the big. It has to be the biggest part of your trophy. Understood? Okay. And execution, probably you can work on the execution better. But otherwise, I like this way of making a stand. It looks quite structural. I like that kind of a structural thing. The base is interesting. Of course, I mean, it could have been a bit more neater, but the base is interesting. But what you have, what you're showing on the base, I think that can be much more refined, so that the emphasis is on the sword and also probably for the wings. And what I would suggest is, see, you have this cloth, this satin ribbon to probably you could have shaped and cut the ribbons and pasted them in a multiple way so that that naturally forms the wings, and you could have given a big sword. Okay, so that also would have been a very good attempt. All right. Okay, so relevance to the question, creative thinking could have been better. Wow factor, creative use of materials, detailing, neatness. It's a study model, so not relevant. Supporting sketch, there's no supporting sketch and explanation. It's not given. Okay. And I would want each of you to evaluate other students' works, which is very important. I don't think many of you have done it. Please do it. It's highly important. Okay. All right. So Nitish Kumar, Bravery. I think it's quite interesting. The execution could have been neater, especially the base. Okay. This, I think, that represents the satin cloth. It's okay, that's fine. Now, the entire thing, what is basically getting highlighted is this structural white sheet. It is taking all the grace out of the focus, but that's all right. I think he could have probably made this particular structural thing little thinner, such that the focus will go on to the top and everything would look good, and the base could have been neatly done. So Nitish, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so these are certain things, if you have done, it would be like a very good trophy.
Sir, like
right?
the handle thing, I couldn't make it thinner, sir, because the paper was like very thin, sir. So like make to stick it was like tough, sir. So I made it thick.
Then you could have made it longer. Okay.
Sir.
And this bigger.
Okay, sir.
You understood. Okay.
Yes.
Then when you make it longer, naturally this radius will start to look thinner.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. And you could have made this bigger. So whenever you're doing trophies, guys, make it longer, thinner, longer. Please keep it in your mind and start practicing to create a nice base. This base is not at all appreciated. Okay. But good attempt. It's a good attempt. It has a lot of potential. But I think you were able to achieve to its potential probably about 60%. Okay. Creative thinking, okay, wow factor, creative materials, detailing could have been improved, neatness, yeah, base and all that has to be improved. Study model, I think this fall off. I'm not sure this is studier. Okay, it doesn't look studier for me. They look as separate parts. Okay, so this is not relevant, and you have given a supporting sketch. In this model, I depicted shield with arrows behind to show bravery of a person who is moving forward, not going back. How are you saying it is to show bravery of a person who is moving forward, not going back? In what way?
Sir, like he has a shield in his hand, no, sir. So
yes,
instead of going back, he's going forward. That means it's repeating bravery, sir. Like with the full of courage.
Okay. In this, all the I can't understand how items are used both and cardboard as the base, paper as the handle, and ribbon as to show. See, you don't have to tell this. This is visible. Okay. You don't have to waste your lines in writing what material is used for what and etc. In fact, you could talk about why you created this kind of a structure. What is the meaning of this structure? why you created the structure, and how are you relating it to bravery. Okay, mentioning that would be more meaningful and useful. Understood, Nitish?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you got to improve your explanation. Okay, let us see. Okay, let me refresh the page. Priyanka, your sketch is there, right? That is the sketch you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. This trophy is inspired by the knights, as knights are symbol of bravery. They are the first ones to face any danger that is approaching to their kingdom. All right, okay. Interesting. Interesting. I think it's cool. I think it's pretty cool. How is the side? You could have taken some pictures of the side, back. Okay, and see, there is something called as repetition or rhythm, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, for example, you have used these multiple times, so it is looking interesting now. There are other things also you could have repeated. For example, this cloth. Okay,
Sir.
this cloth you could have probably used it for the handle.
Okay, sir.
Okay, and probably this white could have been used for the blade. So when you kind of repeat a material again, okay, so it starts looking interesting.
Okay, sir.
Okay, but I think it's neatly done, neatly executed. You could have given a little more attention to the way
To
you
the
are doing
edges.
stuff. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
this basically shows your ability to neatly use the material to create the effect. But I think overall, it's a pretty good attempt.
Thank you, sir.
Is it a study model? I don't know, but it's not relevant. There is no supporting sketch and there is no explanation. Oh, there's explanation. Sorry. Yeah, yes. Okay. I think good job. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So this is what feedback for the test one. Now let us look into what the other students have done. So this is a question that you can do at your home when you have time for practice. Okay. So design and create a memento for Nobel Peace. So Nobel Peace Award, Peace Prize, whatever. Now you understand, right? For example, if you take the attempt of Preksha, this is not a trophy. This is like a depiction of a theme, right? So that is where I think she has gone wrong. All right, and so Lakshmi, this is an interesting one, but the execution has gone bad. You see how all the corners, edges, and etc. are there, but it has a lot of potential, but she did not execute it properly. All right, so it's a problem of execution, but it's a great potential. This has a great potential. And if you look into the other works as well, okay. I don't know where she used the straws, but it's an interesting trophy. But I would always ask you to make it longer, make it longer. And what is happening is it is becoming very monotonous. So probably she could have given some kind of apertures, some random apertures through and through holes, okay, to make it look more dynamic. So, like for example, what I mean is, like for example, it could be like one small triangle here, a triangle next to that, a triangle next to that, and a similar kind of a pattern here, something like that. Okay, maybe she wants to show a world map or a little thing, because it is too plain, but it's decent. I mean, it's good. It is good, but I'm just trying to see if it can be enhanced. It's a good attempt. I don't know who did this. This was done by Amelia. Good attempt, Amelia. And then Gayatri has attempted this kind of trophy. Now, what I would like to tell all of you is, to create something symmetrical is very difficult. Okay, because it's all handmade. If it is machine made, you can do symmetrical stuff. So when you're doing handmade stuff, don't try to get to the symmetry. So make it purposefully asymmetrical, so that a lot of effort will go from your head. All right. For example, she has tried to have these two branches of leaves, right? So both she tried to make it same size. Not required. This could be bigger and this could be smaller. That's all right. Let it be asymmetrical kind of a balance. That's absolutely fine. Okay, and in fact, that would have looked even more better. Okay, and then the base, how she's trying to support this, this is not a great way of supporting. It could have been done with a simple two supports, two triangular supports at the back. Okay, that would have been even neater, simpler, and somebody who lifts it can also keep it back. Now, what happens here is, once you lift this, this joint and this joint becomes very feeble, and it will not stay. This support will fall down, like it will be dangling down. Okay, so she's almost there, but she could have probably made it a bit more simpler, and made the structural support for this even simpler. This is not the way to do it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Oh, you're here. That's good.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah, good. You understood the support part, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, these are all done like, for example, circular flakes. All right. If you see circular flakes, how they are supported, basically, if you see that, okay, they have a very simple mechanism of supporting on a simple stand. I'm not able to see, showing skin conditions and all that. Silver, okay. I'm not able to find them here, but the support system will be very, very simple and neat. So you see this kind of a stand here. All right. So these are legs which has a back support, and you just insert this between the legs. All right. So
okay, sir. How do I make that?
With the cardboard only.
Okay.
With the cardboard. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Okay, so that's one. And Vikram has also done a good job I would prefer this to be more elongated, more bigger. Okay, but what he has done is, wherever he wanted to emphasize, like he wanted to emphasize this element, and he has used the straws which has these bands. So when you're looking at this model, the first attention goes on to this structure, which is what is required. So I think he has nailed down on the focal point of the entire thing. That he has done in a good way, but there's little detailings and etc. he could have done much better. And especially trophies means longer trophies. That would look quite good. Now this work, this is done by Ananya. So Ananya is also trying to make a symmetrical looking trophy. Never try to do anything symmetrical, especially handmade, because it's very difficult to nail it. So in fact, you could have a bigger fan and a smaller fan here, a paper fan, right? So this is all right, but the embellishment could have been, one could be bigger, one could be smaller, and immediate attention will go into that. All right. Okay, so this I have commented. All right, so any comments, anything that you guys would like to share? Was the session useful? Would you try to implement whatever we have discussed in the next work, next project? Yes, anything that you would like to share, please go ahead. Okay, so if not, so tomorrow, you know the timings. Indiranagar will be 2 to 5, and online will be 6 to 9, and 6 to 8, and 8 to 9 will be the feedback session. So looking forward for all your participation, eager participation, and improve of your work. All right. Okay, good night, and thank you all so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.